Hi everyone, good morning. So we are on the CAT day. This is going to be the first take analysis of slot 1. Now this is based on the inputs that we got from the mentors, the IMS mentors who appeared for this particular slot, and of course all the students. So we have created different groups on which we are getting inputs from the students. So I'm going to share very quickly what happened in the first slot so that students who are entering slot 2 and slot 3 can benefit from this. Because if there are any and there aren't any major changes, so that's a good news for anybody who is going to enter slot 2 or 3. Don't worry too much because there haven't been any major changes as such. So I'm going to quickly walk you through this. This is going to be a very quick session. So let's first start, and I'm going to be taking a couple of questions at the end of this particular thing. Okay. All right, so total 68 questions, no change on that front. So that's a very good news. There hasn't been any change in the format. The way it happened from CAT 23 to CAT 24. From CAT 24 to CAT 25, there hasn't been any change. So those of you who have seen the CAT 24 format and have been taking mocks in that particular format, there is absolutely no reason for you to worry. Enter with confidence, whether you are slot 2 or slot 3. So VRC, that is where one change has happened, so to say, because the difficulty level has changed. So, and that is something that was even expected because a lot of us had that feeling that the VRC difficulty might go up a little bit because it hasn't been changed in the last couple of years. It was more or less consistent if you look at, let's say, 22, 23, 24, etc. So VRC difficulty level has changed a little bit. So be ready to read some dense stuff because that can also happen in slot 2 and 3. Be ready to have different kind of questions. For example, there was a report that there was a question which is related to vocabulary, but of course it's a contextual usage of a particular word. So how that particular word has been used in that particular passage. So no direct question on vocab in that sense, but you have to understand the contextual meaning. So be ready for any sort of surprises on that front as to the kind of questions that you have seen on VRs in the past. Some of that has changed a little bit. So that has increased the VRC difficulty a little bit. In terms of the RC and VA question split, that hasn't changed. So 16 questions of RC, 8 questions of VA as it has been the case. 4 question types which were there earlier as well that have appeared in the last several years, which is parajumbles, odd one out, summary and paragraph completion. So all 4 question types appeared this year as well. 2 questions each of each of these types, right? So 4 into 2, 8 questions of VA. RCVA, as it was the case last year as well, has not been clubbed. At a point of time, 16 RCs used to appear together and then 8 VA questions. That has changed. Now you can, let's say, start with the first question being VA, then suddenly a passage appears and then there's another VA question, etc. So they are jumbled. RC and VA is not clubbed together. Okay, so be ready for that. DILR, no change in terms of the number of sets. So similar to last year, you have 22 questions. There are 5 sets and there are you have total 5 sets, out of which 2 sets have 5 questions each, right? So that is 10 and then 3 into 4. So 3 sets of 4 questions each, the way it was last year as well. So no change on DILR. Very similar in terms of difficulty compared to last year. That has been the early reports. Okay, so parajumble questions were there. So 2 questions each of these, as I can see a lot of you have asked regarding VRC and so on. DILR, the early reports are that it is very similar to last year. Okay, now again, depending on how you have performed, you may find it to be slightly more difficult or easier. But overall composition, the early reports indicate that it was very similar to last year. Now quant, again, we'll talk about it on this particular slide. So quant, again, no major change. Some reports were slightly easier than last year. Some reports said very similar to last year. I mean, in fact, CAT 24 was a little bit of easy paper. So it honestly won't get easier than that. So it won't be very easy. But what we have said is easier compared to last year, but most of the people found it to be very similar to last year. And even if it is easier, it could be like just marginally easier. So VRC, as I mentioned, 24 questions in total. There were 4 TETA questions out of these. These are the parajumble questions and the odd one out questions. Okay, so 4 passages with 4 questions each, as we discussed. 2 parajumbles, 2 odd one out, 2 summary, and 2 paragraph completion. Okay, higher difficulty than last year. That is one change that has happened. So if you're somebody who is entering slot 2 or 3, be mentally ready to face difficult RCs or long RCs. Okay, so just be aware of that. That's the only thing from a strategy perspective that you have to do. And in a way, it is good that you are starting with VRC as a section and it's not the last section of the CAT. DILR, as I mentioned, 3 sets of 4 questions each, 2 sets of 5 questions each. The early report indicates that there are total 11 TETA questions. The number of theta might be off here and there, maybe by 1 or 2 because of the early reports that we have. We'll make changes to these in case we realize that there needs to be any change. QA total 22 questions. As I mentioned, 6 to 8 questions of theta. So some people said there were 6 theta, some people said 8 theta. You can work with maybe 7 as the number of theta questions. That should not bother you too much at this point of time, as a good thing is the difficulty is very, very similar to last year. So no reason to worry about QA. If you have practiced your CAT 24 slots very, very well, I think you are well prepared for this particular test. There's no reason for you to worry. So total 2 hours, same MCQ, theta, marking scheme, no change on that front. No reports of any particular issues happening at the test center, etc. So the conduct was overall smooth. That is what we have found as of now. So just to sort of conclude this, VRC slightly difficult than last year, so be mentally ready. Second, DILR not too different from last year, very, very similar in terms of difficulty. Same composition, 5 sets is what you had, 4 into 3 and 2 into 5. And then in terms of QA, slightly easier or very similar to last year. So no major surprises on that front as well. We'll of course have a detailed live analysis which is going to happen. So we have all of these things planned for you today. There's going to be slot 1 live analysis at 12:15, slot 2 at 4 and slot 3 at 8 o'clock. I hope you will join us for those sessions as well. And throughout the day, we are going to release various videos, whether it is going to be, there's going to be the cutoff, the expected cutoff versus percentile, score versus percentile and cutoffs. We are also going to have panel discussions after every slot. Okay, so make sure that you join us for that. But as somebody who is joining, who is going to attempt slot 2 and slot 3, just be mentally ready for a slightly difficult VRC. That's the only thing that I will suggest to you. Okay. Some people are saying, I'm guessing slot 3 DLR is going to be tough, etc. Okay, so need not worry about anything or make any sort of assumptions or go with like a set mindset that, okay, this is what is going to happen. See, at least slot 2 and 3 students in a way benefit from that the element of surprise doesn't hit them as hard as say somebody who is taking it in slot 1. So at least slot 2 and 3 students should know that VRC is the difficult part of it. Now let me tackle that. DILR and QA is very similar to last year, so no reason to get worried about it. DI question answers. Okay, so see, we'll not be discussing any questions as such, but in the live analysis, we'll of course talk about what is our expectation of what score should correspond to what percentile at a sectional level and at an overall level. So I hope people will join us for that. Some people are saying DLR was not at all easy, so that's why we said it is similar to last year. It's not very, very easy, but very similar to last year in terms of composition. Okay. Some people are saying DLR one set was quite doable. Yeah, definitely that will be the case. You will always have a couple of sets that are very easy to handle, but there are some sets that will be lengthy, right? So overall, it was like a moderate difficulty DLR set. Okay, so that's it from my side for this particular thing. I hope you have been benefited from this particular video that we did, and make sure that you stay in touch. You keep watching the content that we'll be releasing. We don't discuss questions particularly because if you look at it, CAT actually prohibits you from discussing questions, okay, before they release the official the response sheet. So that is why we'll not get into the individual question discussion from a policy standpoint. But of course, we'll talk about the overall difficulty, the sectional difficulty, and so on. Okay, so stay tuned to the IMS YouTube channel. I hope this has helped you. And those of you who are entering slot 2 and 3, I wish all of you all the best. This is like a quick summary, so I'll just wait on this for a couple of seconds more so that you can end on this and just be ready for a slightly difficult VRC mentally. DLR QA very similar to last year. But again, when you are solving the paper, don't make any assumptions in terms of how many attempts should I do just because of the difficulty being similar. So try and do as many as you can, give the best, and I wish you all the best from everybody at IMS. Stay tuned. We have a lot of things planned for the day. Okay, bye everyone. Take care.